What kind of evidence is historical evidence? Talk about that versus mathematical certainty.
When historians provide hypotheses for reconstructing the past, I think they're using a form of inductive inference, which is called by philosophers inference to the best explanation. And what this means is that you're confronted with a body of data to be explained. You then establish a pool of live options for explaining that data. And then on the basis of certain criteria, you assess those rival explanations to determine which explanation, if best, would explain the data in the most plausible way. And that will be the preferred historical explanation that you pick.
Okay, let's take that in terms of the resurrection.
All right.
Okay? The Christian church, all through 2,000 years now, has said that Jesus actually rose from the dead. The disciples saw him. All right? But David Hume comes into our discussion here in terms of what is possible from our own experience.
Right.
And everyone that's watching probably would have the same experience as we have had. Namely, we've gone to funerals, never yet come home with the guy we went to see. So our experience is all the dead people we've ever seen have stayed dead. All right? How in the world, then, can we say that somebody in history by the name of Jesus actually rose from the dead, even though the disciples said they saw him alive?
Right.
We need pretty solid proof. Do we have that kind of evidence?
The attempt by Hume and other scientific naturalists to exclude the possibility of miraculous explanations is, in effect, an attempt to eliminate supernatural explanations or miraculous explanations from the pool of live options. It's saying we don't even need to consider these explanations as live options because they are a priori excluded from the pool. Now, the way in which they attempt to do that is through an argument saying that miracles contradict all of our known experience, that on the basis of our experience we have certain natural laws or laws of nature, and that the resurrection of Jesus is, for example, incompatible with these laws of nature. It's widely recognized among contemporary philosophers, however, that Hume's argument is simply fallacious. There's no contradiction between affirming that dead men in general do not rise from the dead and saying that Jesus of Nazareth rose from the dead. Those aren't contradictory statements. In fact, the Christian believes both. The experience that would be contradictory to the statement that Jesus rose from the dead would be evidence to the exact opposite of that, namely that Jesus of Nazareth did not rise from the dead. But you cannot prove that Jesus of Nazareth did not rise from the dead by showing that everybody else in history has always remained in their graves. Those simply aren't contradictory statements. So Hume's argument is simply question-begging if he says that universal experience contradicts the belief in miracles, because he's already assuming in saying that the evidence for miracles is false. So it seems to me, once again, the only way that you can get at this question is to look at the evidence for and against the particular miracle in question. You can't rule out a miraculous event by showing that all other events are non-miraculous in character.